Hello, today I am covering
Mega Merge!
Model A, the strangest model in the Mega Man ZX series. Again, there's only one game to cover, and it'll just be ZX Advent for this model in the next one. You know what I do by now. I'm covering the basics and more complex things about this model. I do want to give clarification to a question people had about if I'll cover the pseudoroids or not. I won't cover the pseudoroids, just Model A itself. They'll get their own video, it'll just be separate from the series. Here's the games I'm covering, so let's get into it. Model A is based on Axel from the Mega Man X series. It's technically Model Albert, but that's a discussion for a different day. You get Model A in the beginning of Buckfire stage. Before we get to the attacks, I have to go over the Biometal Gauge. The Biometal Gauge dictates if you can use charge moves or not, as charge moves spend Biometal Gauge. For Model A, this only applies to the Giga Crush and the Homing Shot. In Advent, Biometal Gauge refills by 1 point every 3 seconds. There are some differences between Model A as Gray and Ash, so I'll be covering the different variations of some attacks whenever it's relevant. Whenever it is, I'll talk about Gray's first, then Ash's. Starting with the attacks is the Uncharged Shot. As Gray, you get some small shots with the Buster Shot, but you can fire them rapidly. And with Ash's Laser Shot, your shots are wider and do more damage to enemies, but they're not as fast as Gray's. Ash's are better since they do more damage to enemies. For the semi-charged shots, they cover the same horizontal distance.
Yeah!
Gray's is slightly taller,
How's this?
while Ash's does more damage to enemies. Gray does have the height advantage, but again, more damage is better. For the charged shots, there's some pretty noticeable differences. Gray's Charge Buster L
Go!
fires a regular charge shot. It's pretty strong, nothing out of the ordinary. Ash's Reflect Laser
It's over!
is different though, as the shot itself is longer, and it ricochets diagonally off of surfaces, like the EX skill of the same name from Zero Free, and the Gemini Laser from Mega Man Free. The Reflect Laser disappears when it hits an enemy that tanks it, another one is shot out, or after enough time. As for which one's better, it's hard to say. Gray's Charge Shot does more damage to enemies and bosses, but the Reflect Laser can hit more than just what's in front of it, so it's really up to you. But I give it to Gray's overall because of the higher damage. Next up are the Homing Shots, which are done by holding R.
Gotcha!
When an enemy is in the targeting field's radius, the enemy will be locked on, and it gets hit when you release the Y or R button, even if it's currently outside of the radius. As long as they're locked on, it's fair game. If enough enemies are locked on, then even more damage is done. Gray's targeting field has a big vertical range, and when you fire, it fires up to 8 separate shots. While Ash's targeting field is longer, and when you fire, a single bolt travels from target to target. This move consumes 2 points of the Biometal Gauge. Gray's is just objectively better, while Ash's Homing Shot has a longer range. Gray's Homing Shot is wider, and since it can fire several shots at the same time, it's better against swarms of enemies. There isn't even a damage value argument saving it, as both do the same amount of damage, even with the boost from targeting several enemies. The final move to talk about is the Giga Crush, which is performed by holding A until the square stops growing. This move is a screen nuke, so it affects everything on screen, but if they're in invincibility frames or fully protected, no damage is done. You are invincible for its duration though. This move is weird, as it doesn't have a set amount of Biometal Gauge to spend. Instead, it spends the entirety of your Biometal Gauge, so regardless if you have Biometal Gauge upgrades or not, your full bar is always spent. This move is the same for both of them, so there's no differences to go over. This move is pretty bad. There isn't even a damage increase if you have upgrades to your Biometal Gauge, and it's better to just use your Homing Shot. You can use it for its invincibility, I guess, but you won't need it if you're good enough. Another thing is that it's even worse with upgrades, as it takes even more time to fill back up. Normally it's 48 seconds, with a full gauge, it's 96 seconds. And its damage isn't even that great. It didn't even kill this enemy. Don't use this move, unless it's for style points. Overall, for which Model A is better, I'd go with Gray's overall. While Ash's uncharged and semi-charged shots are better, and there are things her charged shot does better than Gray's, not only does the extra damage from the uncharged and semi-charged shots not apply to bosses, Gray's better homing shot and his charged shot doing more damage seals the deal. It's not enough to say Ash's Model A is way worse, but it's enough for me to say Gray's is better. With the basics done, let's get to the complexities. Like with Model X, ZX, and OX, you can have up to 3 bullets on screen at a time. With Gray, this is effortless, but you can't do this normally as Ash. What you need to do is fire either a semi-charged shot or charged shot, and then fire your uncharged shots. It's easy when you know it, so use it to your advantage. You can't use the homing shot while you're charging up the Giga Crush. There's a good reason why, as you need a full gauge, and the homing shot uses bimetal gauge, but I wanted to mention it because it's important. With the complexities listed, let's move on to the stages. Overall for stages, it's pretty good. There's no special interactions Model A has, so I can't talk about that, but its power output is pretty good, and the homing shot's nice. Having no special movement options does suck, but Model CX has the same issue, and it's the best one in Advent. Since this is Advent, you will get stuck in most stages, where you need to transform, but that's an Advent thing, so I can't really hold that against Model A. Thankfully though, this model has no bad stages. All of them, it does good in, but again, you get stuck in a lot of them. It's nowhere near as quick in them as Model CX though. Always needs to either charge or spend bimetal gauge to do good damage. And if you just want to use regular shots, it'll be pretty slow. Again, it's great overall, just it does struggle of having to switch, which everything in Advent has, and you need to charge to do good damage. With the stages traversed, let's move on to the enemies and bosses. Overall against enemies, it's pretty good. It can take out most enemies quickly, and it can take out several enemies thanks to the homing shot. It surprisingly does great burst damage, since releasing the charge shot also releases the homing shot. It doesn't have the quick melee damage Model ZX has, as you need a charge to do that great damage all the time, but uncharged shots can still kill enemies at a reasonable pace. The homing shot on its own doesn't do great damage, but it's still good to have for the extra damage. In the many kills you can get out once. Giga Crush is just killing everything on screen while having invincibility. It's good against them, but the bimetal gauge is a problem. Against mini bosses, it's good against them overall. It usually depends on how many targets there are for the mini bosses though. It's especially great against the Lawn Break, Spy Drill, and Capsule Converter, as they have multiple targets you can aim at. It can struggle against Sir Crush and Gigantobull, as they constantly protect themselves. It's really bad against Rayfly, but that's because it's too high to hit with the Buster, and even with the burst damage, it won't be fast enough to take them out in a few cycles. It's fine against the other ones, not great, but not bad by any means. Giga Crush again can be useful here, especially on the Capsule Converter, but it's only good against those type of mini bosses, and even then, you may just want to save your bimetal gauge for later. Like the models themselves, Gray's is better, as his homing shot has a wider area, which makes it more effective against mini bosses with wide hitboxes, like the free I mentioned earlier. Against bosses, it's decent. Your combo route is homing shot into your charge shot. It's like Model X, but not as strong, and not as easy to pull off. Now, there's some math to do. Assuming that you target just the boss, Gray's combo does up to 8 damage, while Ash's does 7. If the homing shot targets Pheromorphanes, an extra point of damage is done for 9 and 8 damage, respectively. Using some math, for if you target just the boss, Gray takes about 8 combos to kill the average 2 health bar boss, while for Ash, it takes 9 in an uncharged shot. With the multi-targeting boost, it's 7 combos in an uncharged shot for Gray, 8 for Ash. That sounds pretty crazy, but against free health bar bosses without the boost, it's 12 combos for Gray, and it's 14 for Ash. While with the multi-targeting boost, it's 11 combos for Gray, and 12 for Ash. This means that against bosses, Gray's better, due to higher damage, which means less combos are needed to kill bosses. Giga Crush is just bad against them, due to the flaws I mentioned earlier. You either use it for invincibility, or a cool kill. This model has one boss where it's objectively the best, Albert's second phase, as you need to hit the bits to make his shield go down. Since there's several, Model A's homing shot is by far the best option. When that shield's down though, just like any other boss, you switch to Model ZX. Overall, Model A is perfectly fine against bosses. You get consistent damage that's easy to dish out, and you have Giga Crush if absolutely necessary, but it shouldn't be if you know what you're doing. It's good, but Gray's is objectively better against bosses, and everywhere else in Advent. Overall, I call Model A powerful as it's pretty strong in CX Advent. I'd put it around the same level as, or a little weaker than Model X. While Model X is fine all around, but one of the best models against bosses, Model A isn't as strong in the boss department, but stronger everywhere else. I call it Powercrept, as there's not much reason to use it until the Albert fight once you get Model ZX. Its buster is as strong as a charge shot, the saber gives good damage without having to charge, and charge saber reversals do more immediate damage against mini bosses, and it's by far the best model when it comes to damage output or just Advent in general. This video was very fun to work on. I didn't know there were so many differences between both Model A's, and it was really cool finding them out. There are 3 videos left in the series, and the next one will be about Model A, the one with the lowercase. It's gonna be a video, that's for sure. But I'll be announcing something really cool there. As for my next actual video, it'll be another Is It Really That on something from the X series, but as for what it is, we'll have to wait. I'll see you when that video comes out next month.